Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay. I hope you are having a nice day. But if you're not, I hope that this little chat is able to give you something to focus on. It takes up some space in your brain so that however you're feeling is not overwhelming you too much. So, for those of you who don't know, I am Lauren. I'm a sound healing doula and I am the CEO of Washea. Now, today I wasn't sure about what I wanted to talk to you, open the discussion around, and it got me thinking, like, what on earth is something that I experience frequently that I don't necessarily see a lot of discourse or conversation around. And one of those things is the feeling of emptiness, the sensation of emptiness, the emotion of emptiness, or at least that's how I'm able to kind of conceptualize it. And I just kind of want to document how emptiness as a whole concept in my world changes depending on how I'm feeling. And I just want to kind of see if others feel like this, or if it's like, oh no, emptiness feels like this and it's always like this. So when I feel empty, I pretty much associate it with the emotion and sensation of being emotionally numb. So I don't think I've ever felt happy but empty, or excited but empty. It's always in my case, I feel sad and I also feel empty. Now, is this like, sometimes it's a physical emptiness, like I'm hungry? Like, yeah, sometimes that is what I'm sort of experiencing. But when I say that I feel empty, like it's not just a physical thing, it goes deeper than that. It's like emotionally I can't really connect the dots to understand how I'm feeling. So sometimes I feel overwhelmed, and this can be something that is directly reflected in like what's going on in my day-to-day life. Like sometimes I can't focus because I haven't slept well, or I am thinking about other people and my role in their lives. And when I tend to overthink, I feel like I panic. And then when I panic, because there's an overwhelming sensation of, oh my gosh, there is just so much going on in my outer world and my inner world, it's all too much. Let me switch off my emotions in a way that I know how, and then I go numb. And then because I'm disconnecting myself from my body, that makes it easier for me to kind of cope. And while this numbness and the feeling of being emotionally empty can be like painful and uncomfortable, I feel like for such a long time I have actually got into the habit of just using that as something to cope. So I just default to like numb. And empty for me is something that I can, like, I know what that feels like. And previously, like, I was associating emptiness with being comfortable because that's all I knew how to do. Like, I was in survival mode in more than one way. And when I look at different parts of my life, I do see that emptiness kind of like leaking into like more than just like, oh, I feel empty when I'm involving myself where I can't see anything that interests me. Like if I'm in a conversation and there is nothing that will like add or grow my spirit, my intellect, anything like that, if it's not going to stretch me in a way that allows me to grow, like I will switch off, I will feel numb, and I will typically say, oh, that's an empty conversation, because when I'm talking, it's not something that I feel like I can add anything to, because yet again, when we're relating this to like frequency, the way that I'm seeing things is like, okay, so you're using language that I either no longer resonate with, or I can't resonate with it yet, so I am choosing to do the thing that makes me feel comfortable, although it doesn't make me feel comfortable when I really kind of think about it. And this idea of emptiness is seen as like a bad thing, like, oh, like everything has to be like, oh, the cup needs to overflow, fill up your cup first. Okay, yeah, that works to a point if you know what works for you, and if you have the emotional capacity to try things and allow them to potentially not go so well, but then still have the emotional energy and capacity to hold yourself while the things that you're trying are not working. That takes a lot. And for me, in my case, I don't have much emotional capacity anyway, and it is getting better, but the way that I'm sort of redefining emptiness and the emotion and sensation of feeling empty is like, okay, I have to take things that don't feel safe for me. I have to get rid of those. I have to take them and remove them. So anything, any situation, any person, any emotion that does not help me with supporting me in like where I'm going, I am going to consciously remove that thing. And I feel like the emptiness that I've been experiencing has definitely felt like I'm starting over, or it's like picking up a brand new notebook to start writing a brand new chapter of your story in. That was something that I was struggling to like visualize, but the more time I'm spending on healing, and like the more time I'm actually allowing myself to see myself for who I am, I can really open my heart to welcoming in other things. And because I'm getting rid of things, I have space to like welcome in new stuff. So now the emptiness isn't necessarily a bad thing where I was thinking, oh my gosh, I feel empty. No, like I'm just clearing things away, and my world feels so different now that I've had that mindset shift, because it allows me to focus on what it is that I do want to fill myself up with, my vessel, my body, my existence. Like I'm starting a new chapter, and as I'm moving into this new phase, this new state of being, this new version of myself, this newer, more awakened, more enlightened version, more present version of myself, I get to decide what happens. So now it's a case of like knowing that with the emptiness comes like a whole bunch of new opportunities, because it means that now I get to understand where people are coming from while removing previous judgments that I had on myself about interacting with a certain group of people, thinking like, oh, they're better than me, or I'm not good enough to be where they are because of X, Y, Z, or even down to the part of me that is like, oh, I don't deserve it, because I've experienced that emptiness and feeling like, okay, well, there's nothing for me here. Like, okay, there's nothing for me here, as in where I am emotionally. So what's next? I move, and that can mean physically, but it also applies to emotions as well. So if I can't feel anything, I then do things to allow myself to feel. But with those exercises, those activities, I put high priority on those, because it's something that I value, because I love how when I do a certain thing, I start to like fill myself up. I fill up my soul and rejuvenate my soul with things that allow me to feel seen in all the ways. And it doesn't have to be like I have to be seen by lots of other people. I can just allow myself to be who I am in that moment, and know that that future version of myself is like, yeah, girl, you did good. And sometimes that's all I need. But with the whole idea of emptiness, coming back to that place of knowing that it's not something to be ashamed of. Like, if you feel empty, if you don't know what the next step is, try to see what made you smile at a certain point in time and go and do that thing, as long as it's not something that is going to harm you. And while you feel empty, having the right type of people around you at that time is absolutely crucial. And I know it's difficult to find someone or a group of people who know what you're going through, but having at least one person that you can quickly send a message to, or you can kind of picture in your mind, that calms you down, that can really help. And then also having a bunch of things that can help you feel like you are in a space that makes you feel comfortable is really, really important. So what I am going to do is I will be adding in resources from a number of different places that can help you. But for now, I hope that you have a gentle day and you do something that allows you to smile and give yourself a hug today. If that feels like too much, just allow yourself, when you feel ready, to breathe through whatever emotion is coming up for you as you are feeling this. And I will link my socials down below, but I will also catch you guys in the next one.